The most poisonous spiders in the world and the largest anacondas, secret jaguars and fearless overgrown otters, bloodthirsty piranhas, and electric eels. In this episode, we'll immerse ourselves in the dangerous animal world of the Amazon River. Atlantic Bushmaster, and we'll begin with the largest representative of venomous snakes of South America of the viper family. In length, this creeper can reach 13 feet and weigh up to 11 pounds. Bushmaster's teeth are also far from the smallest, reaching a length of 1.6 inches. Surprisingly, this is not even its main tool. The Bushmaster's main strength is its ability to wait. Whenever the snake sticks out its tongue, it skillfully collects all possible odors from the nearby leaves and soil. The tongue transmits the received information to special organs located on the palate, and from there the data goes to the brain. Thanks to this, the Bushmaster can search for enemies that it hasn't even seen. In addition, this method of hunting is quite effective because it requires almost no energy. And in general, the snake is not particularly chasing a hearty meal. In a year, it's enough to make only 10 to 12 such snacks. I can't even imagine how hard it was for the people in this video to catch a Bushmaster in ambush. While the snake in the previous video was pulled out of hiding fairly easily and was no longer a threat, the monster in this video was much more serious. It was a mackerel-like hydrilla or payara. This fish is considered a fairly popular fishing object. Many try their luck in its capture, but not everyone succeeds in doing so. It's not for nothing that it's still called a fish vampire. Payara has as much as 6 inches of brutality instead of teeth. It even got to the point that Mother Nature had to invent special pockets for teeth so that the jaw could normally close. It's lucky that Payara doesn't want to taste human meat, but it eats solid fish. Otherwise, I think it'd be even more dangerous than a piranha. Payara grows more than 3.5 feet in length and weighs under 40 pounds. But it usually hunts fish smaller than itself. The animal tracks its prey and gets closer so that they would not notice this. Then, just for one lightning-fast jerk, it flies up close and thrusts its long teeth. In a single bite, the Payara does tremendous damage, depriving the fish of the ability to fight back. Well, since we compared the Payara with piranhas, let's learn more about them too. So the red-bellied piranha is one of the most popular species of piranhas, with a reputation as a freshwater predator that poses a danger not only to fish but also to humans. Before you ask me, piranhas don't attack us just for fun. They say that they do it purely for reasons of their own safety. But here's the problem. How to do so that the fish would not feel discomfort? It's a good question, and one that's not easily answered. The body length of the red-bellied piranha usually accounts for about 6 inches, but there are individuals 3 times longer with a weight of 8.5 pounds. The main feature of the piranha, of course, is its huge mouth with protruding sharp teeth. They have a triangular shape and a length of about 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch. The teeth are located in such a way that when closing the jaw, the upper ones are exactly in the grooves between the lower ones. There's almost no gap. This method of clamping allows you to easily bite off pieces of meat and denser tissues, for example, veins or even bones from an enemy. A branch or even a human finger will prove as fragile to it as a straw. Despite the fact that the piranha could easily eat almost anything, it does not eat catfish of the order of Hoplosternum because they're very useful for it. They fearlessly swim up to piranhas and eat various parasites from their skin. And now I propose to take a look at another no less terrible creature. Although it does not have the same sharp teeth, it's certainly not inferior in veracity. This is the anaconda, a legendary snake from the subfamily of boas that's considered the most massive crawling in the world of fauna. There are quite a few cases of catching this snake, and you're now witnessing one of them. Yes, this creeper is very large, but did you know that there have been described cases of catching even 36-foot specimens? At the same time, the literature tells us about some cosmic 80-foot snakes. However, this is not easy to believe. To top it off, don't be frightened. If people had really seen such large snakes, we would have known about it long ago for sure. You're expected to receive a reward for information regarding the record breakers. Well, for now, there is complete silence on the subject of their capture. Our guest continues to hide in the jungle, especially in the water. Yes, despite the fact that the anacondas can catch up with the enemy and on land, most of the time it spends in the water because it's much easier to move there. It spends much less energy and accordingly can think less about food. Also, despite the huge number of scary stories about anacondas, these snakes try not to think about us, humans. They're completely uninterested in us in any sense unless we encroach on their territory. Anaconda has no poisonous teeth. However, their absence is compensated for by several rows of small hook-shaped teeth that are bent inward. If the enemy is lost even a little, it'll have to say goodbye to its life. The poor creature won't be able to get out of the grip of the anaconda. Unlucky victims can be digested for weeks inside the snake. This saves it from frequent meals and local residents from fear for their safety. These creepers breed in the spring. To attract the opposite sex, the female leaves a special odor trail on the ground. It's an indicator that she's ready to continue the line. There are a large number of those wishing to take the vacant place of the father, so fights regularly take place for him. It's said that if no one eventually wins, the males will mate with the female all at once. Electric eel. Our next guest is not as big as the anaconda. However, in terms of strength and danger, it's not inferior to the snake. Greetings, the electric eel, one of the most sophisticated predators on the planet. To give you some idea, if the same anaconda had a choice whom to attack on this eel or, I don't know, on the jaguar, it's more likely to choose the second option. You'll know later why. To begin with, the strength of this creature, naturally, lies in the current. Almost the entire length of the body of the eel, there are special cells in which the charge is accumulated. As long as the eel feels danger, they immediately spew it out and destroy all life on their way. As we know, water is a perfect conductor of electricity. Thus, by emitting current underwater, the eel makes the area around it uninhabitable and incapacitates its enemies. Very often when an eel stuns some particular prey, those just swimming nearby are also dumbfounded. However, despite their possibilities, electric eels do not always act in a crude and straightforward manner. If high-voltage discharges are used for hunting and self-defense, then low-voltage signals, on the contrary, help them orientate in space and find prey even in the murkiest water. Moreover, it's said that originally the current of the eel was used for this purpose. It was later when he learned to use it for self-defense or attack. Sending low-voltage electrical signals in the darkness, the eel creates an electric field in a radius of 13 to 16 feet around itself. With its help, the fish can even hear how fast the heart of its soon-to-be dinner beats. By the way, scientists tell us that this feature is actually of great importance in the ordinary life of the eel. Electro from the fish world sends discharges around it and causes the muscles of other creatures to contract involuntarily. Then it picks up these movements, plots a route to them, just like a navigator, and goes to visit. Then just a couple of minutes will pass and the eel will have a nice heaviness in its stomach area, if you know what I mean. And now I propose to talk about the Brazilian otter. You must admit that this creature looks very cute, kind and gentle. It seems as if it wouldn't hurt a fly, but in fact it's exactly the opposite. These mammals of the family Mustelidae live in the tropical forests of the Amazon basin and can easily eat the same anaconda for lunch. It seems that when they meet predators, something clicks in their heads and they transform into aggressive, dangerous, and strong creatures that will not spare absolutely no one in their path. What does it matter anyway? Even bloodthirsty piranhas scatter at the sight of the River Queen. The giant otter grows up to 6.5 feet in length, with 2 to 2.5 feet belonging to the tail. The animal weighs up to 55 pounds. Brazilian otters almost always live in whole families. This allows them to feel safer and regularly hunt even caimans. And yes, otters are excellent swimmers that help them in this special device of the tail. By the way, otters often use their powerful tail as a weapon to stun fish or snakes. The giant otter also has a good hearing and sense of smell, although if the water is clear, the river queen is more likely to navigate by sight. Jaguar. The jaguar is the third largest in the world and the largest in the New World representative of the feline family that amazes everyone with its agility, strength, and beauty. At a length of about 6.5 feet, it can weigh over 220 pounds. Its jaws are so powerful that they can even bite through a turtle shell. Not surprisingly, most other jungle dwellers are not at all eager to challenge it or even to get them in front of it. But if they do, they have every chance of escaping. The jaguar rarely chases fast prey, and not because he's afraid of not catching up with it, but simply because of the cat's laziness. Except that its enemies don't always get a chance to escape. Often, the cunning cat shows up in front of the opponent when it's too late to do anything. And yes, the jaguar is a solitary predator. It can think over a plan to attack or to escape alone. It also has enough strength to overpower someone. So why hunt with someone else? Why share the prey? The only time jaguars meet with their brethren is when there's a need for procreation. The female carefully chooses a male and goes on a honeymoon with him. Once the job is done, the male will leave the lady and allow her to enjoy motherhood to the fullest. But don't be sad, only 100 days will pass, and the mother will no longer be alone because she'll have 2 to 4 cubs. Initially, they're blind and not ready for life in the wild, but they will adapt to everything. For 6 weeks, the newborns will rest with their mother in the den, and then they'll go on their first adventures and begin to adopt the life experience of their elders. Despite the fact that jaguars are one of the continent's most dangerous predators, only a couple of cubs usually survive to adulthood. And you're about to wonder who keeps them from growing up. It's not an anaconda, not some birds of prey, and not even the giant otter, but male jaguars. And for what exactly they do this, scientists have not yet understood for sure. However, that's what it is. Amazonian giant centipede. The creature we'll talk about is smaller than a jaguar, a giant otter, an anaconda, or anybody else in today's episode. Take it from me, with its hunting method alone, the Amazonian giant centipede already deserves special attention. The centipede is the nastiest millipede, with a size exceeding 16 inches. Its body consists of more than 20 segments covered with a tough exoskeleton, and each of them has a pair of yellow or orange legs with a claw. It also has 2 pairs of legs that are different from the others. The first pair has turned into maxillipeds with claws connected to poison glands, and the second one is special, dragging large legs that help the animal to cling to clumps of soil in underground passages. And here we're smoothly approached to the nutrition of the giant centipede. It occurs as follows. The millipede grabs the victim with its front legs, then it strikes poisonous maxillipeds into it and begins to chew. Under the influence of enzymes, pieces of food are digested quite quickly inside its body. Despite this, the insect eats slowly in no hurry. In general, it does everything exactly as befits a creature endowed with venom. Speaking of venom, it's well preserved in the cold but quickly destroyed by heat. In humans, their bites can cause local swelling and pain, usually lasting 1 to 2 hours. But even despite all this, these centipedes have their enemies. They're hunted by some species of snakes, birds, as well as kinkajous and possums. They're particularly vulnerable and therefore aggressive. Brazilian wandering spider. This is the name of another relatively small creature that stands out for its aggressive behavior and extremely dangerous neurotoxins. In a healthy person, the bite of a Brazilian wandering spider causes the strongest allergic reaction. However, with timely medical attention, consequences can be avoided. If the victim has a weak immune system, then alas, even an instant antidote is unlikely to help. This monster got its name primarily because of the place where it lives. But what does wandering mean? And this refinement to it is attributed to the fact that it's always on the move. In addition, it does not weave webs, as all 8-legged relatives do. For some reason, the spider favored banana plantations. For this, he's also nicknamed Banana Spider. At the same time, he does not eat fruit. Its diet includes insects, amphibians, and reptiles. But the boxes with bananas, according to the arthropod, are a great place for daytime rest. Together with the harvest, the insect begins its journey. Spiders are loaded onto ships and sent to other countries. They wait for arrival and disperse in different directions and discover new horizons. If you look at it from the outside, there's nothing scary at all, so they scatter and scatter. What's the big deal? But the spider's poisonous, remember? In addition, part of its toxin is considered to be still unexplored and can present such surprises that modern medicine is not even ready for. That's about it. Write in the comments what animal seemed to you the most dangerous one. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.